All right, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining tonight. I think tonight's going to be a lot of fun. It's a distillery that I'm not sure that a lot of people honestly know that much about. I think a lot of people are familiar with the 291, maybe on some level or whatever it may be, but I think diving into whatever it is that they have kind of really going on, I think it'll be a lot of fun. So last week, what I did was in the event that somebody missed the stream, what I did was I kind of just did like a little super chat, like we'll have tonight, and I'll put it up here real quick. Hang on. So we've got that. But what I'll do is, so last week Todd was the winner. So Todd won, and I just wanted to do like a blind flight of the 291 stuff. So that's what we've got tonight. So these are all single barrels and at barrel proof. These are all going to be picks that were done at Don's Liquor and Wine out in San Jose, California. So they do an awful lot of picks, and I get a lot of stuff from that liquor store. And boom, here we go. So what we're going to do tonight is we've got basically A through E, 1 through 5, however you want to, decipher it. We're going to choose our, I guess, least favorite of the bunch down to our favorite one. Now, Todd and I are both tasting these blind, so we won't have any idea of which ones we're necessarily tasting. If I'm tasting the same one, because I mixed up my glasses, so I don't know if I'm drinking the same bottle as Todd will be or not. So before we get into it, let me just say hi to everybody in the chat. Let me go back through here real quick. I know there were a lot of pre-gamers. Kerber, my man, Will Henderson, Hendo, how's it going? Steve Damron. Who else we got here? I know a lot of stuff. Who else we have here? Tim Peterson, how's it going, buddy? Cam, how's it going? Amy Bohm. What else? Dave Hatton, Tim Garrigus, how's it going, buddy? Amy, I said before. Let's see. JG, how's it going? Andrew Buchanan, Wheels. And thanks, 291 Colorado Whiskey. They are in here. So thank you so much for joining tonight. If anybody does have any questions regarding really any of their products or whatever, feel free to go ahead and, ask them something. They were nice enough to jump into the live chat tonight just to kind of, talk a little bit more about, the 291, what's going on with the distillery. And I'll probably do something with them in the future as kind of a distillery exclusive. So we focus just on their stuff specifically. So, all right, if I missed anybody, Whiskey Lore, how's it going? Hey, bud, hopefully you're feeling better. I know we ended up with the old COVID-19, so I'm glad you're feeling better. Sugar Kitty, how's it going? JJ, Mark Bond, Moose 76, Kyoko, how's it going? Spencer Mav, go Habs. All right, so we'll get going here. So the idea tonight is going to be actually, before we do kind of get into the blind, what I wanted to do with Todd being, my guest tonight, I always think it's interesting to ask people how they kind of got into, whiskey, bourbon, all of that, because there's usually always a good story behind it. So with that, Mr. Ritter, why don't you take it away and kind of just tell everybody how you kind of were introduced to whiskey and how you ended up down the rabbit hole like we all did.
Thanks, Scott. So I'm Todd Ritter. I live in Frankfort, Kentucky. So that's, I know they call Bardstown the heart of bourbon country. So I like to think of maybe Frankfort as being kind of the brains of bourbon. So, when you live in a town like Frankfort, it's been here. It's had its highs and lows, and it's really on a big boom right now. So, you kind of take it for granted. And so, like, my grandfather worked at Old Taylor and Old Crow back in the day, and I've had friends and family that have worked at the Jim Beam plant here, and then at Buffalo Trace as well. So, it's always been a part of my life in some way or form. But I guess I really got into it, I guess, a couple years ago. My cousin's husband Bill Straub, one of the owners of Foregate Whiskey, kind of really got me into the nuances and some of really learning to appreciate bourbon and whiskey. So,
yeah, it's always, it's one of those things where whiskey kind of lends itself to, people getting together and good conversation and all of that. And that's why I'm always happy to kind of do these sort of things. It allows for a good conversation. And if there was somebody that didn't know, a lot or really anything about 291, out of Colorado, then this will be a little introduction. Now, again, like I said before, these are all going to be individual single barrels at barrel proof. So these are very unique. So if anyone's interested in trying, 5, barrel proof single barrels from 291, get in on the action tonight. I think you'll really enjoy what it is that they have to offer. So, all right. With that being said, why don't we? Do you want to dive into it? And we'll kind of get out. So, yeah. So I'm gonna rank mine 5 through 1. So we'll go through all these. I think the best thing to do, my opinion, is we'll kind of nose it, taste it, and then kind of work our way back. I think it's really the only way to kind of get a good idea of what it is that you're really nosing and tasting. So, all right, so let's do this. So I'll get into mine, and on the bottom of mine, so I've got of the 5 barrels, I have mine labeled on the very bottom. So I have no idea which bottle is in each glass. So the likeliness that Todd and I are drinking the same thing is probably very slim. So yeah, it's a very unique nose. Now let me back up a little bit. So I believe, and somebody from 291 can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe these single barrels are all aged approximately 1 year, and they all have the charred aspen staves placed in the barrel. Now, I don't know how long the staves are generally placed, so they can probably answer that a little bit better. But I don't know if anybody can really see on there or not. But for a whiskey or bourbon that is only approximately 1 year old, the color that these have, I'm guessing that a lot of this comes from that charred aspen stave, but not necessarily. So it'll be interesting to see, what it is that they have to say, how and where a lot of this color is coming from. So,
yeah.
And I think they're all non-chill filtered, because I moved this thing around and it is oily as the day is long. It's a lot. So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's very, like Todd and I were talking before we went live. It's very, if there's like a terroir of something, it's like that. Like this smells like you could imagine Colorado smelling. It is just, it's very interesting and unique, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely not what you're used to if you're having your bourbons from Kentucky or any other state that I've had some in. And that's one amazing thing about bourbon now is, as a Kentucky guy, it used to be kind of our thing, and now it's really blossomed in other states. And I've had some really good stuff from other states.
Yeah. There's a lot of people a lot of these companies outside of, Kentucky and Tennessee and MGP that are really starting to kind of push the envelope and maybe even force the big boys to, do a few different things. So it'll be very interesting to kind of keep an eye on a lot of these companies. So, yeah, this one, it is very, there's something that's with this one specifically is very like piney. There's a lot of citrus that's on this one.
Mama help. Okay.
Well, there's even I would say almost like a baker's chocolate on this one as well.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like Todd said, a little bit of butterscotch. I can definitely see that on these. They're all a little bit different. Oh, nice char level on this, and I don't know even really what I don't know necessarily what the aspen influence really has, like what that profile is that it's really implementing. So, all right, what is 291 saying here? All our single barrel whiskey is aged, under 2 years in heavy char virgin American oak. We love Kentucky bourbon, Tennessee whiskey, but we make a big, bold, beautiful Colorado whiskey. Yeah, it's all of that. I mean, it's interesting to have at 2 years old a lot of this color that's here. Really nice nose that's on here as well. So
I'm getting a little fruit now, maybe a little.
Yeah. Maybe that was one of the things I was searching before. Like, I don't know if it's like a juicy fruit or something tropical or whatever. Yeah, this one's really nice. So I'm gonna give it a try.
I'm like you. I'm getting that. Yeah, baker's chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some of that. There's definitely some sweetness that's there as well. Oh man. All right, I gotta try this guy. Now I forgot to mention. I don't know if I have the proofs written down. Todd, do you have what some of the proofs are on? They're all like in the
127.7 to 128.4. So it's a really,
yeah. So you can see we're within a
proof range.
Yeah, within a proof point. So all kind of big boys. So they're all going to be very, very interesting with this. So. All right, I'm going to give this one a try. I got a big old hint of vanilla there right at the end.
Nice.
Yeah, there's the one thing I would say it reminded me of is not that it's Texas whiskey, but what it reminds me of is when you get a profile in your mind of what a particular area tastes like. This is very much that. And if a lot of this is what Colorado whiskey is going to taste like, I think they've done a really nice job. And we've only had a sip of one so far. So yeah, there's a real strong hit of the baker's chocolate for me on this one.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's real. And let me ask you this: do you get like almost like a Coca-Cola aspect to it, like something like a sweet soda almost?
Yeah, maybe. Also getting like go along with that chocolate is kind of a little bit of orange.
Yeah, definitely orange citrus in these.
Yeah,
that was one of the common things on that. So I really like that one quite a bit. So, all right, I'm gonna write down. See, I don't even know really how to. I'll probably have to figure out.
And I'll apologize to your listeners. I have 2 young kids that could raise Cain at any time. So,
well, we all know that. We all know how that goes. So. All right, what else did they say? All right, so this will be interesting right here. So the 291 Colorado Bourbon Barrel Proof Single Barrel is 80% corn, 19% malted rye, and 1% barley. All right, so that's interesting. All right, so we're high corn and high malted rye, 1% malted barley. Okay. Yeah. No, non-chill filtered, leaving all the good stuff in oil. Perfect. Yeah. So I think that right there says everything about what a lot of people, especially when you're drinking anything barrel proof, that somebody really wants something that is just not stripped of all the flavors. So, hey, Kyle, how's it going, buddy? All right. So I'm on to the second one. Are you on to your second one already?
I am indeed.
Oh, yeah, it's interesting. Now, the second one for me, I get more of, and again, Todd and I are probably drinking different barrels right now. So, again, we'll rank them a little bit. But for me on this one, I get like a heavy, like buttered popcorn aspect on this one. That's interesting. This one's much tamer. This is much tamer than the one I just had on the nose for sure.
I'd have to agree with that. This is B for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still got kind of like piney aspect, I guess, from that aspen.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And maybe that's what that is. I mean,
I don't know if you're shooting subliminal messages, but I'm kind of getting like a buttery popcorn.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, we might have the same ones. I mixed all of mine up, but I mean, we could still have that. So thanks, Griff. I appreciate it. So Griff probably runs maybe for me the best subscription cigar company out there. So cigarclub.com. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out. So, and Griff, these will be fantastic whiskeys with cigars. I'll have to get some of this stuff to you. I think you'll really like some of these. So thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's just something about this one. It's just when I smell this versus the first one, it's much tamer, a lot more vanilla in this one. Nice barrel char on this one, though. That's nice. Even more of a cherry note on this. Yeah, these two have been completely different for me so far. The legend, Amy Boehm, coming in with a $5 super chat. Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, thanks, Amy.
Let's get this party started. Thanks, Scott, Todd, and 291 Distillery for being here. Cheers to you, Amy. Appreciate it. Yeah, that first one was, man. Yeah, this second one and little more of that pine or that herbal character comes out in this one. Really nice though.
Oh wow. The first sip is something different. Man.
So for me, and I don't know if this is in my mind right now or whatever, but it's this one's much drier. It's much more leather and tobacco on this one for sure.
Mine's got a lot of caramel, a little bit of that leather like you're talking about.
Boy, that one right there that's a lot of leather and a lot of like tobacco. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Been looking at these for DLW. Can't wait to hear what you say. Yeah, they're very unique and different. I mean, this is one of the things I really enjoy about tasting different whiskeys is the different profiles and just learning and understanding a little bit more about what some of these things, really kind of have to offer. So. Thanks, Sherry. I appreciate that. Thanks for entering tonight. Man, it's crazy how like number 1 and 2 are that different. Now, I think when I sent you the sheet, I don't think the barrels are that far. I think it went from like 612 to like maybe 620. 621. So yep. Between 12 and 21, I mean, there can't be a huge difference. I can't imagine. So, well, I mean, they all have to be on the same floor if they're 6s. So, but Bubble Bath Bourbon, thank you so much. Appreciate it. 291 Colorado whiskey. Are the Aspen staves from Aspen barrels used for something else or brand new Aspen wood? Yeah, I thought she said, or somebody said before that it's new charred aspen wood, I believe, but they can I'm wrong. So, boy, I'm still amazed as to how different those two are from.
You said we harvest the aspen locally and toast staves over a Weber grill, then added to the barrels.
Is that what they said? Did I miss that? Where is that?
It's probably a few lines up. I think I remember him saying that on Whiskey Lore when I heard his interview.
Okay.
Threw him on a Weber grill to give him a little taste.
It doesn't get any fancier than that. So, all right, there we go. Yeah, that's interesting. It's the profile that it has that it's giving each of these barrels is very unique, and I'm kind of digging it. It's different. I like the terroir what it is that this is. I mean, I'm assuming the aspen staves, considering aspen's probably plentiful there, I would imagine. That to introduce that kind of wood or that species to whiskey is kind of interesting. So, John T, thanks, bud. Cheers, worth a shot. Yeah, it's always worth a shot. I think anybody who gets this or whoever wins this tonight, I think you're going to be really amazed by the profiles of these, like really how good and interesting, if nothing else, and different. I would say this is probably more different than anything that a lot of people have had. I think. What do you think?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would like to ask, like, is 291s, I mean, are they going to let some of these age a little longer in the future? I know I'm not sure. I don't remember what year that he said they started up, but I'd be interested to know, like, what an aspen does to an older bourbon.
Yeah, that could be interesting to know. Yeah, that's kind of an neat comparison. So 291 says that it kind of gives them the that sweet to campfire marshmallow. I can definitely see that. The marshmallow, maybe that toasted aspect of it is probably maybe some of that candy sweetness that we're smelling, but just trying to kind of figure out how to identify that.
Right.
Oh man, the third one is very interesting as well. And maybe that they've got that in my mind now, that marshmallow or that toasted, maybe a light cherry is coming through. Boy, it's very sweet. This is very like candy sweet almost. I'm almost getting it kind of reminds me honestly of a very sweet rye whiskey, almost like a Kentucky Owl, where it's like candy sweetness on this one. That's interesting. Still some of that little buttered popcorn that's there as well. Somebody said something before. Something like, Cameron said something like a maker's. Yeah, so I think it's kind of the same exact thing, to be honest. Just, they're singling out an aspen stave so that they're charring. I don't think they're doing a bunch of different things that are implementing different kinds of profiles. I don't believe, unless you char or toast something differently, I think then it may, implement different flavor profiles. But I don't know if they're trying to do that. I think they're maybe, and they could probably better answer that. But it's, I think this is more of a consistent type of char, at least with the staves anyway. So, JG, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Colorado whiskey, so good. 291. Cheers. 877 nice. 877 mash now. Yeah,
I'm getting maybe just a hint of smokiness with this one.
Yeah, I can see there's definitely a little bit of that smokiness that's there.
The light.
And when they said before with the marshmallow, I think that's some of that candy sweetness that's really starting to come out now for me. But for me, right away, one has been, I would say, the most bold for me. Oh boy, it's just getting like nicer. Yeah, it is. I would say now for me, 3 is maybe the most marshmallow that I've got on the nose anyway. Man, more of that chocolate and leather tobacco. 1 and 3 for me are very similar. I think the third one maybe drinks a slightly.
2 and 3 for me are kind of similar. I'm getting kind of a candied orange.
Yeah, there is a lot of that citrus definitely on the palate. 3 drinks, I think 3 is slightly higher proof for me. I don't know again which one that is. It tastes a little bit hotter than some of the other ones have. And the only reason I say that is because, I mean, going through 1 and 2 with your palate being a little more acclimated, and you start to really pick up that heat. I'm guessing there's a little more proof, but again, the proof point on all of these is within like what, 1, maybe 1 point something proof.
Right.
Not much. So. Oh, here you go. Puffaluffa, I guess. Says, hey, Todd.
It's Michael, my good buddy Michael. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Mike, how's it going, bud? Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. Hopefully you win. It's interesting. Well, you know Todd. Maybe you can sneak over to his place and have a little sample or something.
Yeah.
So
it's a school night. I didn't pour them all out.
it's good. I mean, I think the nice part about this is the fact that this is something that's really, really unique and different, but still very good at the same time. You know, and I'm not getting, and I don't know about you, but I'm not getting that real like heavy like grain forwardness that you get on a really young or youthful bourbon.
Right.
It's way more refined than that.
I agree.
You know? Yeah, I like 3. I like 3 a lot. 3 seems to be the most bold. 1 and 3, it'd probably be 1, 3, 2 right now. I don't know. 1 and 3 are very similar, but
well, right now, those last 2 are. I may have to come back and visit those at the end and see. I really like what's going on with those.
yeah, 3 for me, I think so far is the most bold. It's more it's a lot of citrus, tobacco, leather, a little more of that like pine, and maybe even I get a little bit of like a lemon zest on this one too. Very, very interesting. All right. Well, I really like 3. He's very interesting. And I'll have linked in the description below if anybody is interested in ordering these. I believe the Don's Liquor and Wine out of San Jose, I believe they still have some of these. So I'll put in at the end of the live stream, I'll put in the link below. So if anybody has any interest in checking any of that stuff out, you can find it there. So. All right, so boy, I'm having a hard time staying away from 3. I really like 3 an awful lot. And I don't know on yours, do you notice a color difference like from one that's really looking much darker than the others?
Actually, I picked up D and kind of swirling it right now, and it looks like the darkest of the 5. So I'm really intrigued by this one. And I would say, just looking, the last one I have is a little darker than the other 3, kind of fairly close.
Yeah, I would say there's one that's really sticking out for me, and that's the one that I just had. So I'll be interested to know whether or not
that's
the one that you're about ready to drink is the one that I'm drinking on right now. So
Dusty Dan.
What's up, Dusty? How's it going, buddy? Thanks for jumping in. I appreciate it. What do we have here? What did they say? All right, so yeah, 3 for me. Three for me. The third one that I've been sipping on has been a combination of like all of them. I think it's been everything that I've nosed and tasted in one glass. 3 for me has probably stood out the most. So 3 heavy. That's really heavy on a lot of things. What I really like is when you're drinking a barrel proof whiskey is when you can identify a lot of individual like flavor profiles, and when you get a lot of those individually, it's fantastic. All right, what is that here? All right, that's heavy on that. Citrus, leather. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Let's see. What else? Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it. Cheers to you, bud. Thanks for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I think 3 so far for me has just been super big and bold, flavorful. it's all of what 1 and 2 were. So it's almost like this has more age to it, even though they're I think they said just over 2 years old, which is incredible that they're getting this kind of profile from something that's relatively young like that. Because we all know when you're tasting a lot of things, let's just go, even you're talking about a 2-year Kentucky whiskey, you know how youthful and grainy that profile is a lot of times. So fire. I love how all these these fancy I love how all these new channel things pop up with Fire Kerber, Fire Shaw is like I can only imagine some of the guys that are behind a lot of these. So Fire Kerber says, count me in, Scott. Plus, this means Kerber has to enter my name in the giveaway. You guys, I'll tell you, guys bust each other's what's an awful lot. But that's the best part of it. So this is all having fun. So Fire Kerber, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'd say buddy, but I don't know. That could be a woman as well. Who knows? So I appreciate it. Are you on D yet or no?
I have moved on to D, and
okay.
Really, really like this one.
Are you on 3 still? I know I'm having a really difficult time. I'm having a really hard time passing up 3 too, because this is one of those things that you'd like to just kind of nose and sip on for a little while.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm hoping that your 4 that you're coming to is the 3 that I'm sipping on now, because if it is, I think you're in for a good one right there. So, what is Kerber saying here? I know one person. I know one person that isn't winning a super chat giveaway tonight. I'll let you control that. Hopefully, no shenanigans or anything, but I'll let you guys control that. So,
hey, Bill. There's modernthirst.com. Yeah.
How's it going, Straub? Thanks for jumping in. I appreciate it. Yes, you do see the 4-Gate Whiskey Company glass there. Yes, you do.
He makes Reldos pay double too, Scott.
I didn't even realize that was front and center. It wasn't even by intention. I better turn that one around. You got one too? Oh yeah, look at us. We look like a couple of suck-ups here.
Yeah.
That's okay. They do a fantastic job. If you haven't had 4-Gate stuff, then you're missing out big time. But
he makes me pay double since I'm family, though.
Yeah, that's okay. We know how family stuff goes once in a while.
And there's Adam. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Adam. How's it going, bud? Thanks for jumping in. I appreciate it.
Cheers, Rody.
Adam does a good job in the Roadie Facebook page. That's for sure. So. Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna go on to number 4. The fun part is we still get to go back through these. So I really like my 3rd one. I'm hoping that's your 4th. I'll be interested to see which one that is for you.
That 4th is spot on. It's really good.
Now for me, my 4th one is way more like herbal or like herbaceous, a little more piney, a little more like lemon zest. There's a little bit more of a bitterness for me on that one. That's a little bit different. I mean, coming off of 3, I think it's unfair because the 3rd one or my 3rd one or C or whatever you want to call it has been hands down the best. I mean, 3, 1, 2. It's fairly easy for me to rank these guys right now. So yeah, this one comes across a little youthful for me, but boy, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, this is a little bit more along the lines of maybe the first one I nosed and tasted. A little more herbaceousness on this one. It's tough though, coming off that third one for me. I think that's gonna be a tough one to follow right there.
I'm gonna say that about my fourth one. That's delicious.
Is your fourth one the dark one?
It's the darkest that I can tell.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if
the fifth one might give a run for its money. Let me see. I'll pull it up here. 4 and 5 they're both kind of dark. And,
yeah, 3 and 5 for me are kind of similar, I suppose. 4 seems to be a little more. Yeah, there's just a little more of that piney influence, the herbal aspect to that one for me. Did you run into one yet that was very like herbal for you at all?
Yeah, I would say A for me.
All right.
Mine were labeled A through E, so that's kind of the way I'm sipping on them.
Yeah. Okay.
So A had some herbal stuff going on.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I would say for me, like 4 is probably not of these so far is probably the one that I like the least. But again, it's maybe a little unfair just because of what it's coming off of. So I'm trying to figure out if I can cleanse my palate a little bit just to figure out if that has anything to do with it. Yeah, I think whoever wins tonight is going to really. This will put you on a little bit of a roller coaster. That's for sure. I think something that people will really appreciate. So, and I think it's important for a lot of people to, kind of get outside their comfort zone and try things that they normally wouldn't be able to. I mean, you've got 5 single barrel proofs from 291 Colorado Distillery, and I mean it's unique. It's different. I mean, this is a different profile than I think a lot of people, will have tried. So, and if anyone is interested, Drew with Whiskey Lore has a podcast that he did an interview with Michael Meyer. And so it was a really good interview that he did. So if you want to check out his podcast, Whiskey Lore, I think it'll give you a little more insight on just a little bit more about 291 and kind of what it is that they're doing. So,
yeah.
All right. So here we go. I knew Michael was, had like a little bit of like a design and photography background. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. I mean, it's a unique bottle. I don't think there's anything else that I can even think of that's even shaped like this. So it's a very unique bottle. I like kind of how you can see all the cork and, before I opened these up, they had like it was almost like the metal piece that's on top of champagne bottles.
Okay.
So you kind of still have to like unscrew that little metal piece.
Yeah, there's some Belgian beers that kind of do some.
Yeah, it's very, very much the same thing. So you pop that off, and I mean they didn't explode like champagne or anything will, but it was very, very different and unique. I like that kind of that little touch and stuff that they added. So,
and I think that kind of sums up these bourbons as different and unique. I mean,
yeah, that's you kind of nailed it. It is very different and unique, but I would say in a good way. Like I wouldn't want 5 horrible whiskeys to try to do this with. I can tell you that. So,
I mean, any of these bottles would make for a can go in your collection just for to kind of show off something different.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think being able to give somebody this where maybe either they're getting into, whiskey or even if you've tried all kinds of different things, I think this is one that's going to be so different that I think people will kind of scratch their head as to, what in the world is that, because it's such a different, unique profile. And I think this is, again, one of those whiskeys that you have to give it a chance. You can't just jump right away to like, I like it or I don't. I think you've got to give it a little bit of time to kind of, develop on your, palate a little bit. So yeah, it is that champagne cage. All right. I'm glad you could clarify that, because that's all I could think of was to be descriptive, like the champagne thing. So, hey, Chris, how's it going? Appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in, bud. Good to see you. Antonio, how's it going, man? All right, I got to go back to 4. Now, got a little bit of water on the palate. I wanted to see if that changed 4 at all.
Rugged, refined, and rebellious. Yeah, that's a great tagline for this bourbon. Rugged,
I would agree.
Rebellious.
I would agree. Yeah, that's a very good, like, kind of descriptor, I'll say. Yeah, that is. I mean, that's just a really, really interesting profile. So, we got a little. Looks like we might have a little visitor making an appearance tonight.
Oh, awesome!
My buddy Brewer. What's up? Say hi to everyone. He's not too camera shy, but all right, you gotta go. Go back by mom. All right. See you, Brewman Chew. Okay, let me go back here.
Jason from Mash and Drum.
Oh, he's gracing us with his presence. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mr. Mash and Drum.
I was just listening to his interview with the Bourbon Road. I'm kind of catching up on those guys' podcast.
Oh yeah. Hey, we did one with them a long time ago when we were visiting. And this maybe back in 2019 when myself, Jason, and Dusty were all there. We were over by it was Jim and Randy at the time. They were still running the show, but we had a good night, maybe a little too good, but it was a lot of fun. So let's see here. All right, let me go on to
Whiskey Lore asks, is Brewer a beer or a whiskey fan?
Well, he's his name is Brewer after the Milwaukee Brewers. So I'm sure whatever I gave him, he probably would be good with it. He's probably snuck a few good little sips of beer and stuff. That's for sure. He hasn't had any whiskey that I know of. So yeah, I know Michael. Yeah, he was also on with might have been Big Chief and my guy, I just forgot Jim's. When they did theirs, I think they had already switched over when Michael was on there. So, but yeah, another good, really another good, really podcast there. So
agreed.
Oh man, number 4 is nice too, or 5.
Now 5 seems this might be that more herbaceous one that you're.
Yeah, 5 for me is much. There's almost like a nuttiness, a nice sweetness to this. Maybe that's one of the things I've been missing a little bit of. Maybe there's more nuttiness in some of these than I've been giving credit to, but it's more of a creaminess that's there. And I think maybe some of this sweetness and depth, one thing that we didn't even touch upon is that this is all pot still distillation. So you're going to get a little bit more of a creamy or funkier profile as well. So yeah, I can definitely see that. It's very mouth coating. It's got a great profile to it. So, boy, 5 for me. That's a ton of cherry on that. Some nice chocolate, some vanillas, caramel, butterscotch. Boy, 5 is really nice too. Boy, that's very interesting. Thanks, Hendo. I appreciate it. Cheers, bud. Appreciate the super chat. Yeah, whoever wins this thing, you guys are someone's gonna really, I think, enjoy enjoy this. I'll have to follow up with whoever it is wins this to see what you think. And I hope you do it blind. You don't have to, but I think if you do it the way we're doing it right now, I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, and I've already had these bottles open now for maybe upwards of a month. So I've given them a fair amount of airtime. So that shouldn't that should impact it a little bit now that they've kind of had a chance to open up a little bit. So, all right, now we're Matt. I thank you so much. Sounds interesting. Great job, Todd. So Matt Harville says he's Team Todd tonight. It looks like your buddy Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Cheers, buddy.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know, team. Huge fan of your whiskey. Had it for the first time. Yep. So Matt. Jason likes it, so that's cool. What else we got? Hank, how's it going, my man? Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, so these are all going to be very, very interesting, different, unique. Yeah, they've all. I was very surprised to go through these and get, I would say, as much of a difference as we have. So it's someone's going to really, really enjoy this flight. So I'll be anxious to follow whoever it is that does do it. What it is that you what you think. So. All right, so let's see. I think for me, maybe I go back to 5 here a little bit. 5, I've got there's still there's all of them. I mean, all of them have that herbal character. So I mean, you're not going to get rid of that part. Mm-hmm. It's in all of it, but the complexity on some of these is really starting to kind of shine a little bit more. So. Yeah, a little more chocolate on that one as well. Maybe some cherry, definitely a little bit of pine, maybe some lemon zest or something. That's one of the things that's starting to kind of pop up a little more. Thanks, Ian. Good luck. I think if you win it, you'll be very happy with what it is. So it's cool and unique. I'm really kind of liking the whole profile. So, all right. So what do I have so far? 3. Do you have any kind of early front runners?
That number 4 is going to be hard to knock off its perch. It hit all buttons. That's for sure.
I'll be very surprised, I'll say, if your 4 and my 3 are different. Because like when like for me, one of them is stuck out. Like one for me, I would say, well, not number 1, but one of them has really stood out with like everything that you've kind of combined all in one bottle is very, very good. There's a lot of complexity to it. That's for me, that's my number 3. So, all right, I'm going to run back through these things a little bit.
I'm just trying to figure out my my place and show, and then.
Yeah. All right. I'll go back through it again in a little bit and see what I get here. Hey, Trev, how's it going, bud? Thanks for jumping in.
Cheers to Whiskey Lore, $5.
Thanks, Drew. I appreciate that. He said he's been enjoying his bottle as well. So, Drew, do you also have one of the single barrel proofs? If so, let us know maybe what barrel that you have. Maybe what you have might be what we have as well. So I'd be interested to know. So
I think he said he had the rye because I talked to him about winning this contest. So I want to say he may have had the rye. He may have the rye.
Yeah, and I've heard really good things about their rye whiskeys as well. So I think after tasting this will be one of the I'd really be interested in trying some of their other whiskeys just to see see what the profile of those are. So Edwin, thank you so much. 291 Colorado whiskey, been to like seven different liquors in the past 2 weeks, and have yet to see a whiskey in Dallas. When will it be here? So there you go. 291. Edwin wants to know, when are you going to have distribution in the state of Texas? Yeah, and maybe if you don't mind, I'm not exactly sure how many states you guys are actually even in right now. So I thought listening to Drew's podcast, maybe 12 or 13 is what it sounded like, 14, maybe 15 max. But I couldn't remember. All right, so here you go, Edwin. So they answered some. We're distributed by RNDC in Dallas, Houston, and Austin. All right, well you pretty much have all the big cities covered there. So it looks like based on that, you should be able to find some 291 in your area. So what else do we have here? Okay. All right. Let me move on back to my number 4 and see. Yeah, my 5 is nice. I think 4 oh man, that's weird. I just got on my 4th one. I just got like this smoked meat nose. That's interesting. Like this camp, like there's a smoked meat aspect to it.
That's uncanny. I got a lot of smoke on this is B for me. So
okay. All right, there's like a lot of that's really interesting. I don't know if I've ever got like a smoked meat before. That's like right when I put it to my nose, that was the first thing that kind of popped into my mind. Oh boy. All right, so 291 says they're in 13 states and shipped to your door in about 40. So, all right. Hit the old buy now link. And if anyone's interested in buying any of these specifically, these are from Don's Liquors and Wine out of San Jose. So once the stream's done, I'll put a link in the description unless anybody wants to head over to Don's and consider it. But maybe you want to see which ones kind of crack the top maybe 3 so far. So Hank Butts, my man. Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. Hope to see 291 in North Carolina. Cheers. Yeah, North Carolina, I thought they had a pretty good like distribution chain. It always seems like there's quite a bit of stuff that gets to North Carolina. Maybe not. Maybe it's South Carolina. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, 4 is I would say for me the most like smoky, maybe like a salted meat or like a brine of some sort. Yeah, 4 is different going back to it now. Yeah, there's something funky about 4. That's a whole other beast right there. My 4th one is something that's really interesting, funky, all of that. Thanks, Kerber. Thanks for posting. I appreciate it. Man, 4 is number 4. That's funky. Yeah, that's the only thing I can say. I mean, I like a descriptor is like funky. It's different. I've never had anything like that before. Man, it can almost be like a smoked fish or something too. There's something very different about that one right there. So, all right. The 5th one I like too. The 5th one was pretty good. 4 was funky. Now we're getting back to the this was the one for me that's probably stood out the most in a really good way.
Cheers, Ty Weber.
Where's Ty on here? Did I miss him? Hey, Ty, how's it going, bud? Appreciate it.
JG asked where 291 Colorado whiskey got its name.
I thought he said 291. Wasn't 291 the like Michael's like dorm room number, and then it had something to do with like 291 was like something having to do with photography or something as well. So something different, that's for sure. Angelo, how's it going? Thank you so much. So yeah, you might be familiar with 291. Oh, you're drinking a little Stag Junior tonight. Which batch? 15, the new one? If so, batch 15, I think I know a guy who just reviewed it. It rhymes with mash and drum. Don't tell him I sent you, though. His head will get too big. Yeah, I really like the third one a lot. So three for me comes across a little bit. I know everyone's talking about the Stag Junior, but there's some complexity that's there on this one that I get a little bit of that cherry, the chocolate, all of those kinds of things that you pull from a Stag. All right, Angela's got batch 15. I've heard really good things, but oh, it's a lucky number. It says lucky number 291. Okay. Yeah, Tommy, we're really liking these. They're all different. So these are all single barrel proofs. So they're all very different and unique. And yeah,
hey,
I mean, it's
Joe. There's my cousin Joseph Galbraith. Hey, Joe.
Joseph, thanks for jumping in. Appreciate it. Just up the road in Wyoming. Go, cousin Todd. Another team Todder right there. We're not competing tonight. There's no competition tonight. We're just having fun and trying some good whiskeys. So hopefully this will, if anybody hasn't had any of the 291 stuff, maybe it'll lead you to try something a little bit different and out of your comfort zone. I know Will down in Georgia, he's got a few distilleries down there as well that have some different unique profiles and all of that. So it is kind of cool to see other distilleries, outside of the major states, doing some really fun and interesting things. So that's kind of nice to see. So, all right, let me go to number 2, and then we can start to kind of sort these things out a little bit. Yeah, 2 is really good too. The one thing I would say that's consistent about a lot of them is for its age, there's some really nice complexity to these.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
They're all very mouth coating. They're all non-chill filtered. I would say the finish is probably, maybe for the most part, the stronger side of medium, maybe not super long. One of them I would say has really stood out the most. That's maybe on the longer side, but they all have a really nice finish to them. And I like how the finish kind of lingers and kind of just develops. You get a little something different as it sits on the palate. And for me, a lot of this continues to sit like right on the mid and side of my palate. Mid to back is where it just kind of, it just hangs out there.
And it's pretty impressive that, these have been aged a year.
I think they said 2 years.
2, okay.
I think they said 2 years, but still, even at that,
a lot more complex than your typical 2-year-old, though, I would say.
Yeah, I would. There's no way I would guess, 2 years. Now, again, I think the tough part for a lot of people will be the fact that it's such a different and unique profile that I think some people may struggle with trying to identify what the age of this is because the profile is just so different on these. So, but I like it. I'm kind of digging it, to be honest. Yeah. So Jason kind of hit the nail on the head with one of them. So this is kind of there's maybe a couple of them. Root beers, maybe before I identified one as like a Coca-Cola, maybe even like a cherry Coca-Cola aspect to it. So I could see the root beer aspect, that rootiness, that herbal character that it may have. I can definitely see that. So there is some smoked one. I mean, I had this one before, number 4. It's like smoked meats and all that. I'm trying to like envision in my mind like how or where, what kind of food or whatever you'd pair some of these with, because they're all so different. I think they could be very, very cool to pair with some different kind of foods. I don't know exactly what, but all right, let me go on to
a big steak, maybe some ribs.
Yeah, I could see that really holding up to like good barbecue. I would really like to now for anybody who enjoys cigars. I think these would hold up well with like a nice kind of spicier cigar. So there's enough sweetness and richness to these that I think would hold up really well with even probably a full-bodied cigar. I think this would do really well. It depends on which bottle you'd want to pair it with, but you could definitely find one of these that would pair really, really well with something. So. All right. I think I've got my order of how I want to place.
All right. These scratches, I gotta rewrite all this. So.
Whoops, sorry. I think that's how I'm gonna go with this. So this will be. I'll reveal. I'll reveal 5th place first. So. All right, so 291 is on board with cigars. I think these are with the profile that these have. I mean, I think it's so different that these will really pair well with a cigar. I'll have to get these to a couple of the major cigar guys and just see what they think, how these will pair with something. But all right, so that's good to know. So Michael is a cigar fan, so it'd be interesting to know like what he kind of pairs some of this stuff with. I know when you start getting into some of the bigger, bold, like Nicaraguan cigars, more boldness, pepper, a lot of those spice, a lot of those things, you can get some really, really nice cigars. I think they would pair really well with a couple of these. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, that last one for me, I have it in 5th place, but it is so funky. It's smoked meats and everything. It almost, actually, the more I smell it, it reminds me of like a smoked ham. Like every time I go back to it, I get something that's more different and funky. I hate to have it in 5th place because I really like how funky it is. So I don't know if anybody else has ever said to anyone from 291 that they get any kind of like smoked meats or whatever, but it's a cool profile. One, I'll have to figure out what in the world I can pair it with. So, all right. Do you think you have yours all set?
I think I do. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. All right. I'll let you go first. Drum roll. What is your 5th favorite whiskey from tonight?
My 5th favorite whiskey was barrel. It was A.
All right. What barrel is that?
Barrel 612.
All right. So this is Todd's. Okay. So you're number 5. Let's see. I'm going to put mine. Let's do this. All right. Let me do. So Todd. So you're fifth place.
I was thinking more of it, not really fifth place, but maybe like tied for third because it was.
Okay. All right. So my fifth one, I'm going to call this smoked meat because that's what it is. So my fifth is number 621. 621 is my fifth one. I'm going to call that bad boy smoked meat because that's what I got on that guy. I'm going to have to make reference to that. So that's funky and unique. I think anybody who's into like barbecue and doing all those crazy things, someone's going to really like that. So, and before I end the live stream, if anybody wants to jump in at the last minute to be entered into tonight's drawing, hammer away. Now's the time. So, all right. So you're fourth or tied for third, whatever you want to call it. What do you have?
I had the one you just announced, so that was D621.
621. Okay. So 621, go back to that. See if you get anything that's like a smoked meat aspect to it. It's a pretty cool whiskey from that standpoint. So it is really different. It's one of the more unique things I've had before. Hey, buddy. Yeah, it's different. All right. So my number 4 is 615. So my number 4 is 6. What was that? 6. 615. Yep, 615. Which is my and 4. So that could be D, I suppose. Yeah, just for me, it maybe just fell a little more flat, a little more herbal characteristic than I'd want to sip on necessarily. Yeah, so I mean, like Drew said, I think the reason it's my fifth one is because it's just very different and unique. It as much as I like it, it's so off profile of anything I've had that I don't have a comparison for it. So, all right. So what do you have as your number 3?
Number 3, I had 614, which was B for me.
All right, 614. All right. Oh, I like number 3 too. All right, so number 3 for me is 619. Number 619. Boy, we're way off here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Man, you might have actually, I don't know. Well, we'll find out if we got we'll see if we got any of them at all the same ones or not. So this for me is one of the cool parts about whiskey is what people knows and taste. It's the best part. And that's why I tell other people, like, nobody's ever wrong. You like whatever you like. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, whatever it is, no one's wrong. So yeah, and before I forget, thank you so much for the people at 291 for jumping in tonight, answering questions, just being interactive with everybody. Very much appreciate that. And hopefully I look forward to doing some stuff with 291 Distillery down the road and maybe having an interview or a sit down with Michael. That would be a lot of fun. Share a couple pours with him. So thank you so much for joining tonight. Appreciate it. What do we have here? What's Drew say? I tend to rank the higher for interest factor. It is one of the reasons I like Old Forester 100. He gets a baloney note. Okay, I love Old Forester. I love the signature 100 from Old Forester, and I can honestly say I've never gotten a baloney note on that. Drew, I don't know if I want to say thank you or I hate you now for putting baloney in my head. Now that every time I drink the the Old Forester 100, I'm going to think of you and bologna, I guess. Okay, so here we go. We're down to our final. We're down to our final two. So what do you have as your number 2?
I had C.
And actually, what barrel?
Last one, I said 615. It was 614 was third, and then 615 is second. Sorry, I looked at my list wrong.
615. Okay, well, that's okay. All right, so I had 615 in fourth place. All right, so I think once we reveal them, I'll have to go back to them and see what it is that that you and I got that were a little bit different. So, okay, so my number 2 is 612. So your 5th was my 2nd. Wow. All right. I'm trying to figure out right now if our number 1s are the same.
It's Kentucky palate versus Wisconsin palate.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. So you're calling me wrong. That's what you're saying. I get it. I'm reading between the lines here is what that is. So all right, number
win. There's no losing in this game. So.
No, there is no. We're all winners in this game, that's for sure. We get to taste whiskey. All right, so your number 1 is what? What number is your 1?
My number 1 was E, 619.
All right, so you're 619. Okay. So 619 was my 3rd place. So my number 1 is barrel number 614. And your number, so 614 was 3rd for you. Okay. So very, very close. I'm just trying to see where we missed quite a bit. Probably the biggest one that you and I had was 612. You had 612 last. I had 612 as second. Yeah. So 612 for me. Let me make sure Todd is wrong on this one.
I'm going to make sure I'm wrong too.
Man, I just like the cherry, the chocolate, the dryness that's there on 612. Or no, yeah, 612. Man, I like that. It was a little hot. It drank probably maybe the hottest I had.
I think so too, yeah. And actually 619 is the hottest of the 5. So that was, oddly enough, that was my number 1. So
yeah, you had 619 as I had 3rd. So we're not far off on a lot of these. A couple spots, but not a big deal at all. I'm just trying to get a
619 came in at 128.4.
Yeah, see, now that was one that didn't drink super hot to me. Did it drink hot to you? 619?
Of the 5, yeah, that's kind of what I picked up.
Okay. All right.
The others seemed a little less intense to me.
But the one thing
I kind of like that heat, I guess.
Yeah, it was nice. The more I look at these, it looks like how I have them. Man, not quite. There's a little bit of a difference, but my 1 and 3rd place seem to be the darkest. The second one a little bit more on par with 4 and 5, but I don't know. There was just something about where did you have 614 again? 3rd. Okay, so we've only missed on a couple spots. Really, we've been opposite there. Well, you had 615 as your number 2, right? 615. What did I have? I had 650. I had as 4th. Just trying to figure out. All right, so Kerber, if you're still in here, bud, why don't we tally up the amount of people who are in here, and we will pick a winner. So good luck to everybody. I don't know. I guess Kerber, let me know how many people participated. Then that way, at least I'll have a number, and then I'll let you choose through the randomizer what we've got. All right, 22 people. All right, so why don't you, Kerber, why don't you do a randomizer? Let me know the number and who it was that won it, and we'll pick tonight's winner of who I'll send a 2-ounce sample of each one of these. So what was Ann asking? Todd, that is what I wondered. I don't know what that's in reference to. I might have missed something.
Oh, I may have had a typo that said "FU" instead of "fun."
Okay. All right. So that's just see one letter off and it changes the whole aspect.
It was 291 too. So I was like, hey, I had a lot of fun tasting your bourbon.
Yeah. All right.
F bourbon, yeah. So
yeah, 291. Don't take it personal. So
right.
Yeah, Todd just missed a letter or two. So just it's all in the interpretation there. So
a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So yeah, they said amazing thing about tasting single barrel whiskeys are the variance in mouthfeel, color, palate. That's exactly it. I mean, you kind of nailed tasting whiskey, period. I mean, it's everyone, it's different, all of that. So all right, Matt Harville. I don't know, Matt, if you are in here, but Todd, you know Matt, right?
Yeah. I'll get
so
you
have Matt reach out to me, and I will get him the samples of each one of these that we tasted. So
awesome.
So congratulations, Matt. It'll be awesome. I think you'll really dig these. I think Matt was the one we were talking about. He could take a trip over to your place, but I don't think he's gonna have to worry about that anymore.
Right. Matt and Michael too. So Michael will get the sample and Matt gets the bigger sample. So yeah.
There you go. So yeah, Matt, just reach out, just get my information if you want from Todd, and we'll make sure we get to your samples on these. So all right, so I'll tell you these guys. I'll tell you some of these names they come up with. I want to recount. Fire Kerber. I know. I could only see that coming. So I think Kerber is probably strong enough to handle counting to 22 and figuring out a randomizer. So it's probably legit. I don't think we have to go through any recounts in tonight's live stream. So yeah, he deleted his entry by mistake. So we were supposed to have 23. No, not really. But all right. So, well, first I want to say thanks to Todd. So he won last week. He got the rights to doing tonight's flight. So thanks for joining me tonight. I greatly appreciate it. I think we had a good time. We had a good time. So got to taste some good whiskey, some different things. I think things that we probably normally wouldn't have an opportunity to try or maybe reach for on a shelf because it's something different. And especially you in Kentucky, you're spoiled. Yeah. I mean, you have a lot of really great distilleries right there in your backyard, and rightfully so. And I don't blame anybody who lives in Kentucky for wanting to just drink Kentucky bourbon. I mean, it's some of the best stuff that's out there. But tonight I think was just one of those examples that if you are wanting to push the envelope or just try something different, get outside of your comfort zone and try something different. It's always fun to try different things. I mean, you're going to get hits and misses and all of that. But it's kind of part of the fun of tasting whiskeys as far as I'm concerned. So
Yep.
291,
journey, as you like to say, it's the fun of the journey.
yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. You know, and by doing that and challenging yourself and trying different things, it gets you outside of your comfort zone and all of that. So, so again, Todd, thanks for joining me tonight. I greatly appreciate it. Everybody in the chat, everybody who, you know, sent in the super chats, excuse me. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate all of that. I think, again, go check them out. I think it's one of those deals where you'll really enjoy whatever this is. Just take your time. So if you get one of them, don't jump to any conclusions. Give yourself a little bit of time with it, and I think you'll kind of reward yourself. So let me go through our list again before we jump off here. So here's Todd's list in order of 5th through number 1. So his was Barrel 612 as 5th place. 4th place was Barrel 621. 3rd place 614. 2nd place was Barrel 615. And his number 1 was Barrel 619. So my list is in 5th place, which was what I was calling smoked meat, was Barrel 621. 4th place 615. 3rd place Barrel 619. 2nd place Barrel 612. And in 1st place was Barrel 614. So fun night. I'm glad we could do this. Again, it's something different, unique. You know, it's something to have a lot of fun with. So I'm glad we were able to do this. Kerber, thanks for being in the chat tonight. I appreciate you helping me out with all the super chats and figuring all that out. So Matt, we'll get Todd to get you our information over to me. We'll get that stuff figured out and go from there. So stay tuned. We'll have some other fun streams coming up. I think in a week or two, I'm going to get a bunch of guys together, just kind of have a fun stream, and it'll be kind of like Seinfeld. We may not have any topics, but we'll figure out what to do with it, which I think a lot of people have a lot of fun with. So everybody, thank you again for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you next week with something. So Todd, thanks again for joining. Appreciate it. Cheers. And we'll talk to everybody next week.